Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the John C. Scott Talk Show. Well, there's a lot going on downtown, and downtown we mean at the courts. At the trial beginning Tuesday, December 4th, attorney Bill Risner is expected to paint an extremely unflattering portrait, says the afternoon, well, actually the Weekly, the newspaper that is on newsstands everywhere today, an unflattering portrait of the internal security within the Pima County Elections Division. And Mr. Risner, representing the local Democratic Party, hopes to secure the outside oversight of vote counting procedures, is asking Judge Michael Miller to order the county to provide copies of its elections database to all major political parties. We're talking now with one of those tenacious lawyers in the country. Here's Bill Risner. Mr. Risner, how are you?
Yeah, very fine, John. Thanks.
All right. Tell me what's coming up on December the 4th. This is a crucial date. It's in a crucial time in court for you.
Yeah, the Democratic Party in Pima County for a long time has been trying to get the election database so that we can examine what the election department has been doing in counting our votes. Everyone agrees, the county and certainly all the reports have shown that the Diebold software that the county uses is full of security holes, can be manipulated to come up with false results virtually without detection. So you really have to look at it closely to see what they've been doing. And the county has been fighting mightily to prevent any outside examination. Because this is a situation, John, where no one examines what they've been doing. The Secretary of State does not do that. The Attorney General doesn't do it. Pima County itself has never done it. And so there has been no one checking on what they're doing, even though they've got a system that's easy to manipulate, and we'll be presenting testimony of horrible management by Chuck Huckleberry in Pima County. You know, our election director has been permitting the one guy who runs the election computers each night during election to take a CD home with him with the election information. And that CD could simply be placed into a home computer using Microsoft Access. Any numbers could be changed. And that has been permitted by our election director, Brad Nelson, who has testified that he is incompetent in terms of understanding computers and does not even have a rudimentary knowledge of how the software works.
Yeah, that is the most mind-boggling thing that I've ever read. Dave Devine in the Weekly says, to substantiate the charge, you've assembled a lot of ammunition, and the most startling accusation is that the Elections Division computer and the network specialist, Brian Crane, has for years been taking backup tapes of ongoing vote counting home with him. I mean, please, taking it home with him. He knows how people have voted. It's unbelievable that this should be allowed to happen. It just boggles one's mind.
Sure, yeah.
All right, what can you do about this? I mean, in this particular trial, what are you asking the county to do?
We're just asking them to give us the data files, and we want to establish the right that all political parties can get the data files in the future. Because if you have a system that both sides acknowledge can be easily rigged, then somebody needs to check on it. And the county has not been checking on it, and the county's system that they propose is that no one ever check on it, but Huckleberry's going to pick 2 new people that will check on it. But nobody gets to check on him. And our belief is that trust and faith, those kind of things may have a role in church or other places, but not in ballot counting. You don't do that with trust or faith. And we don't want a situation where we need to investigate or see is this a good person or an honest person that's counting or anything like that. We need to check. And also, it's pretty important that the studies have shown that this software, even with without a malicious intent, can make errors that need to be checked. It's just a fact that they're using software that's built on a Microsoft Access base with well-known security problems built into it. And there simply has to be oversight. And in Arizona, political parties are the ones that do oversight. When you go to the polls to vote, there'll be a person there checking you. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat, maybe there's a Libertarian. All the political parties get to participate at every stage. And that's how we ensure that there's transparency and that it's an honest up-and-up election. Political parties observe everything. They hop in the car and ride with the ballots downtown and follow them through the whole process, except when it comes to the numbers of what's going on in that computer. That's where the county says, political parties, you have no role, and we're not going to let you see what we've been doing with this computer.
In that Dave Devine article in the Weekly, he's talking about informed during the deposition of Mr. Crane's alleged practice. Chief Administrator of Pima County, Chuck Huckleberry, says he wasn't aware of it. He directly oversees the elections division, and he suggests, quote, ultimately this whole system relies on trusting individuals, and Huckleberry says he thinks Crane is untrustworthy. So is it just up to somebody to say, well, you're trustworthy and this other person isn't? I mean, in the name of God, how does it come down to one person saying, well, you're trustworthy, somebody else isn't? There's got to be a system that goes far beyond who one believes is trustworthy or not. I mean,
exactly.
Come on.
That's fundamental with us. We don't want a system that says it's built on trust or you need to decide if you trust someone. It's like, we think votes are as important perhaps as, let's say, how the banks deal with their cash. And they don't let someone count the cash in the vault, hand them a number, and never check and never verify what's going on with those numbers, And that's it. The banks don't trust. We don't trust with votes either. And everybody knows votes and elections and outcome, and anyone who examines the history of this country, or heck, probably any country, understands that there's tremendous motives and any number of historical examples of people trying to cheat in 100 different ways. If there's a way to cheat, someone tries to cheat, which is why our election systems are the way they are now, where you have different political parties that have an interest in the outcome that participate at every stage. And for them to want to draw a line and say, except you can't know what's going on with a computer with secret instructions and secret numbers and you can't audit it, but trust our guy. That's not an acceptable response. And we're going to, that's why we're in court. If the judge gives that response, then I guess, we appeal or something. But we're not accepting that without the trial, and that's what's happening Tuesday.
By the way, outside of the Attorney General's investigation, which you called a whitewash, no performance audit of past practices of the Elections Division has been conducted, at least to my knowledge, or anybody's knowledge. In fact, the Arizona Secretary of State's office, which I think is reported in the Weekly as saying has ignored 3 phone calls from the Weekly, has conducted no investigation. And next week's trial could provide part of an external review, but you really haven't got much help at all from the Attorney General, and certainly from the Secretary of State's office. You're kind of standing on your own here, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.